What's up, YouTube? It has been a minute for sure since I have been on this channel. Maybe you've been wondering where I've been, and maybe you noticed that right now I am in a different space than you're used to seeing me. Well, over the last few weeks, I have been moving actually out to Montana, where I've taken a new day job. And so it's been kind of a hectic few weeks, and I had recorded some videos ahead of time so that I could put out a couple of those tutorials for you, but I didn't record enough because given everything that we needed to do and how much was going on, I just couldn't get videos out the last few weeks. And unfortunately for this channel, that happened to come at a really important time when a lot of things were being announced for tech, for iPads, for creativity. There's a whole list of things that I would have loved to have made videos about over the last few weeks, and I just haven't been able to. But I'm in the new space now. I'm still figuring out how this new studio should be laid out, how my shots should be. So let me know in the comments what you think of this angle. It's very similar to the old one, but I've got a lot more space in this studio, so I'm doing a little bit of a wider shot. Just let me know what you think about it here. And don't worry, I'll do a studio tour. You know, once I get things settled in here a little bit, I'll do a studio tour down the road. So I'm just using this video to kind of update you on that. I'm out in Montana now. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and I'm very happy to be here. And we're getting settled into a new place, a new studio, and I just wanted to take this video to just hit some of the highlights of things that have happened over the last few weeks, give you my kind of just real brief synopsis thoughts on them so that you can kind of know what I'm thinking. And some of these I'll do more videos on, some the time's kind of already passed and I'm just not going to get a full video out about them, but at least I'll give you thoughts. So I have a list here on my phone of things that have happened over the last few weeks that I just haven't been able to talk about. Okay, so up first is Final Cut and Logic on the iPad. Wow, like finally, you know, that's all I could really say about that is we've been waiting 10 years for Final Cut and Logic to come to the iPad, so finally, it's here. The problem, of course, is that DaVinci Resolve already came to the iPad, and so I don't really feel anything compelling me towards Final Cut, and I don't do a lot of audio work, so I don't feel compelled to get Logic. I was very disappointed, of course, in Apple to see them bring this out as a subscription model. That's just, I know it's cheap, but it's still renting software, which I don't enjoy, and I don't want to see Apple be going down that road. So we'll just have to see what happens with this. A lot of people are covering it, looking at it. There's a few cool things in Final Cut, but I imagine DaVinci will probably add those in shortly, and we'll have them as well. Particularly, I'm hoping to see that hand drawing thing. So the only way I would subscribe to get Final Cut is if you guys said you really, really wanted videos on that, you really wanted courses on that, and then maybe I'll subscribe and do some of that and explore it a little bit. But for right now, sticking with DaVinci Resolve on the iPad and the desktop. Speaking of video editing, LumaFusion 4.0 finally dropped, and well, you guys kind of know my thoughts on that if you've watched my other videos on LumaFusion lately, and that is, it's just too little too late. They're not caught up. Now that Final Cut is out especially, and that DaVinci's been out for a while now on the iPad, just LumaFusion's just not compelling really anymore, except on the phone. I'll still use it if I'm doing a short or something on the phone, but other than that, it's just not a compelling software, and they're too far behind, right? The big feature was multicam editing, which we've been waiting for a long time, but too late because we already have it on DaVinci. So not impressed with LumaFusion 4.0 as far as it being a major update or anything. Not a reason to go out and buy it, certainly, when you can just get DaVinci Resolve for free. Another thing that came out, which affects the iPads and the desktops, is Affinity 2.1 was released. And so this is big because it shows us kind of where Affinity is heading. This is the first major update to Affinity since Affinity 2 came out. And so this is a really interesting thing to look at and see. I haven't had a lot of chance to play with it yet. I've been very busy. Of course, I was very excited to see that they are releasing new tools as they are doing these updates, and these new tools are coming for free to current users. So that's big. It continues to show us the trend that Affinity is on of doing a giant major release and then giving free updates with significant tool enhancements to it. And so that's good to see that they're still on the same track. Then of course there was WWDC. Man, that was a big one for sure. Not really for iPads, there wasn't so much going on there, but as far as Apple goes, it showed a whole new direction for them and everything. Now we knew it was going to be big as soon as Final Cut and Logic got released, not at WWDC, just through a press release. That meant WWDC was going to be big, and of course it was. The Vision Pro headset came out. I don't know what that means for the future of creativity, really. I don't know how this is going to, I don't know if people are going to enjoy sitting down with a headset on, editing videos, doing graphic design, that kind of thing. But what I found super interesting about it was the way that Apple was combining various elements of other things that they've done, right? You could see the fingerprints of the iPhone and the iPad and the Apple Watch and the AirPods. You could see those fingerprints throughout the Vision Pro. So you kind of see them coalescing their technologies as far as screens and tracking and facial recognition and audio mechanics, and so many different things are combining into this headset. The tech is amazing. I'm not going to get one, I'm sure, because it's very expensive and it's not something that I need, but it really is amazing to see. And it could be a sea change in the world of computing. We just don't know yet how it's going to be. So maybe there will be more thoughts on that coming down the road. You could definitely see that even though the iPad wasn't front and center, you could see how the iPad had impacted this, right? As far as the different windows floating and the resizing of the windows and everything, you can see that very much coming out of the iPad OS interface. As far as the iPad OS updates go, there wasn't anything that was like earth-shattering or shocking to me from there. I'm personally really excited for the journal app. I know that was just a tiny little segment, but journaling is something that I like to do, but I find difficult to do. So anything that's going to make that easier for me, I think will be really helpful. And I think that a lot of people in the creative space will make good use out of an app like that. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to mention is the launch of Abode on Kickstarter. Now, I didn't know this was coming. I saw it on Jay Christina's channel, and Abode is a parody, essentially, of Adobe, right? It is a suite of apps that they're trying to make to parody Adobe, and they're calling it Abode because it sounds a lot like Adobe. Now, for one, that's just very funny. And they have this logo that looks like a little house, but also looks just like Adobe, and that's hilarious. And they're trying to release creative software at an affordable price. Now, I have no idea where this is going to go. I have backed them on Kickstarter, full disclosure. I've backed them. I backed them almost as soon as I found out about them because it's the kind of thing that I want to support. Creatives taking control into their own hands and saying, look, we're not going to pay the subscription prices anymore. We're going to make good software that can be released as a single purchase license. Now, whether Adobe's going to sue them or not, I don't know. How that it's all going to play out, I don't know. But it was worth it to me to pay the Kickstarter backing price and support them. I missed out on the early bird, but that was fine because I wanted to support the project. I'm going to leave a link to them in the description below. I'm not associated with them. I don't know them, but I really think that anything we can do to support independent developers trying to come into the creative space and make tools that we can use and be able to buy and not rent is really helpful. So I'm sure I'll be talking more about them in the future, particularly when the applications actually come out, if they're able to actually make them. I will, of course, be doing videos on that and comparing them to other alternatives like Affinity, which is kind of the big player in the alternative space right now. So that's going to be super interesting to track and see what happens with them there. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. If you've backed them or if you know about them, drop down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about that project as well. Okay, I'm sure there's probably some other news that I've missed in the last few weeks, so go ahead and feel free to drop in the comments and let me know what I've missed and what you'd like to see videos on in the future. I'm going to try and get back into a regular schedule here with producing YouTube videos weekly. It'll probably be a little bit different because my work schedule is different than it was before, but we're going to do our best to get back into doing regular videos and tutorials and also getting more courses up. Remember, if you want to support this channel, the best way is to just go down into the link and choose a course that you like and go ahead and take it. You can take the courses on Skillshare or on Gumroad, and you can always get a discount on Gumroad by using the code YT15. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.